what we're doing as a coordination center, but I really want to hear from you first.
Well, as a matter of fact, I saw some advertising, some announcements of the forum on TikTok, which I just joined 2 weeks ago or so. And it was kind of puzzling. It kept saying that some major event was going to come. It's going to be broadcast in 150 languages. I've never heard that about anything in the world. So I decided to take a note. What are these guys going to talk about? And on that day, I had noted down a few things, Creative Society and so on. They said you should join the forum. And I had noted the time and the date. When the date came, I couldn't know exactly where to go, so I decided to start with YouTube. And I put on the keyword, and then I met them live. You know, so I started following, and actually on and off, I followed all 11 hours of it, because the message was mind blowing. The message was mind blowing, and some of the aspects which interested me the most was the fact that we're going to shift the paradigm. You see, for a long time, I've been trying to admonish and enlighten humanity that what we are actually doing in the world is not a good thing. But I was doing it more with a kind of religious spin, trying to say people should improve their morals, stop stealing, the international order is fake, the monetary system is an enslaving one, and so on. In my own small way, trying to cry out that we should change the system and do something, but I didn't really have a structured approach like the Creative Society has come up with. And so it was really exhilarating to come to terms with this. And you see, in the 80s, there was a certain book, and it is through this book that I was able to understand the power of the human being, the power of our mind and our consciousness. As a matter of fact, one phrase which was put out in the book, I memorized it up to today. A thought heard with purposeful intention allows for manifestation. The intended thought through visualization of it in completion and vibratory simulation of it through emotion, heard firmly in place by commitment, brings manifestation. Now, I had to say that a lot in order to shift from the indoctrinated view where you tend to bring yourself to nothing and hope for some external personality and deity to do things on your behalf. Now I realize that I can interpret things in a much better way and show people that we are like the representatives of the Almighty Creator here in the world. And that is very empowering. I've also been trying to enlighten the world as to the enslaving nature of the current economic system. We have a system where a few people have the right to just print the money, and others have to work their hearts out in order to get what is there. I actually wrote a book, if you say it's free on the internet, The Face of Riba Today. When I came to the Creative Society, I realized that these guys have done it are saying the same thing in a much more organized and a structured way. So I realized, man, this is where I have to be. As a matter of fact, yesterday, my second wife surprised me. When I came back from the mosque, she had already produced some flyers and banners to put in front of her shop and other shops in her market, talking about the Creative Society. You see, this is something for a long time, I live in this world like someone who is living with a necessary evil called money. Now, when I see people who are going to bring something else, which will bring money out of the picture, when I was young, I remember singing one song in one church somewhere, the love of money is the root to every evil. And I think that is very true. Now, so everything is showing that there is now some kind of hope for humanity through the Creative Society. And that is why I got on board immediately. And I thought that I think in this particular domain, this is where I'm going to have the greatest impact in my life in the world, if I can help to make people to get to see the value, especially when I heard about your understanding of free energy, or rather energy from the etheric energy field. When I was in engineering school in the University of London, I remember in my first year, I imagined a system, a mechanism using permanent magnets, which can actually just spin. And I contacted some of my professors to talk about my idea. And they got it out of my head immediately. You see, we are talking about professors who designed the Rolls-Royce engine used by Boeing. And I was a small adolescent child. So these guys had weight, and I had to put aside my own thoughts and follow them. Because what they did was they asked me, what does the law of conservation of energy say? Well, I repeated what they had taught me, that you can never create energy nor destroy. So they said, where is the source of energy? I said, no, it's not a question of energy. They said, no. No energy source, it cannot work. And that put it out of my head for about 20 years. But now we can begin to see that it is the understanding. It is a science which is backward. Because when you look at everything which we are seeing now we know that what the secret military technologies have is at least 50 years ahead of what the public knows. And so many of these free energy devices are actually working for them. And a few people have produced these devices, and many of them sometimes their lives are cut short because of it. Because you see, in the consumer society, the petroleum industry is worth $700 trillion. And that is what the amount of money some people stand to lose if free energy should come. And of course, they're not just going to lose that money and go quietly into the darkness. So they're going to use everything possible to prevent it from coming. And for individuals to bring it out, they are never going to outweigh the $700 trillion of the petroleum industry. We need a creative society where it is all of humanity coming out as a block that we want this thing, and there's nothing they can do. So I don't know. If you ask me my reactions, there are so many. Perhaps you should have better given me a length of time, that talk for so many minutes, because it's all in a string. When we go to the medical technology, the med beds, the system of med beds, there's a very interesting scenario which I found, is that I started finding out that sound frequencies and even sound frequencies can have certain medical implications. Now, I decided to get some of these frequencies, and I teach students at home, not children, or adults. Now I have quite a few. So I decided to produce one of the frequencies which had the effect of stabilizing DNA, 528 hertz. Now, I designed an electronic circuit which could do that, but that is a long process. How can I produce 528 hertz immediately? And I thought of a pipe which can be blown to produce. So I calculated using some of the physics I learned in secondary school some 30 years ago about how to produce a pipe which can produce 528 hertz. Now, when I did that, then I realized some of the local native traditional healers here in Africa all have pipes which they blow. When I look at the Aborigines in Australia, they have pipes which they blow. When I look at the Hippo Indians in America, they have pipes which they blow. So we see a system where, because of the consumer system, certain inventions which are actually further ahead, more advanced than some of the things which are being used today, like chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and so on, were actually put aside because the people who were behind it were not inside the economic privileged group. Now, so in the creative society, every good idea coming from everywhere, whether it's an Aborigine from Australia, whether it is a Hippo Indian from America, or someone traditional in Africa, will actually serve all of humanity. Now, we'll go to the economic side. Look at a situation where Africa now produces, we have 90% of the world's natural resources, but actually it is a curse. Why? Because if any particular African leader decides to negotiate with one particular company, X, to exploit one mineral, another company which would have liked to have it, not being able to have it, will now arm the opposition in order to get that particular leader out and put another. And so you see in Africa wars all over the place. It's not because Africans hate one another, no. It is a manipulation because of the financial interests of the consumer society. The only way which that would end, paradoxically, is if the creative society comes. And so I will call on Africans to stop thinking that, oh, those minerals belong to us and so on. You are just born here naked, possessing nothing. You could have been born in China or in India and anywhere. We should understand that these things are for the benefit of all of humanity and not make any resistance towards the arrival of the creative society. It's when the entire humanity comes into one word and one desire that we want an end to all of this. So I like people to see this a bit like the 100 monkey theory. Now, where does this theory come from? It's a scientist who in a certain village, not a village, in an island, was trying to teach monkeys that they had to wash their fruits before eating. So he taught one monkey the second one, the third one. And by the time he reached the 100th monkey, he realized that all the monkeys on the island were now doing the same thing. In other words, that particular lesson had now got into the mass consciousness, the collective consciousness of the monkeys. So if we keep spreading the word about the creative society, it will reach a stage where it will reach the collective consciousness of humanity. And at that particular moment, even those who did not hear about it will vibrate on that frequency. And on that at that moment, we'll be able to have what we're looking for.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really like this example, like with the monkeys, and it's like it's really by showing by yourself, by this example, that you're always acting, you're influencing other people, and that's why it's very important, like always to think about how I can inform other people, like use any opportunity. And I also love your example from your wife, who is already acting. She's already bringing this creative society logos and informing other people, like in your town. And that's why it's very important. What impressed me, this video about coordination centers, right? So like you also remember, Julia, that you need always to communicate with other people, make these coordination centers and inform people and think together already. Like when you more and more people, then you can, like with a very small group, you can already inform the whole town. And when you can inform the whole town, more people will join, and you think about the whole area around you. So these cumulative actions are really very good and inspiring example.
We have a video that we wanted to show, just to start off, a short video that talks about the creative society and the whole concept, the same thing that Sheikh Mohammed Ngubong is talking about. We're just formulating it together. So why don't we show that video?
The Creative Society is not a commercial project. Nobody profits from it, and no one benefits at someone else's expense. People from all over the planet come together to build a society based on one simple principle. Only by improving life for the entire society can you improve it for yourself. This is the main principle of the Creative Society format, which guarantees benefits for everyone. The project's implementation relies solely on the goodwill and initiative of the people. Even one person can do a lot to build the Creative Society, and by uniting, more can be accomplished in less time. When we coordinate our actions, our abilities to inform others multiplies. Do you want to inform others about the Creative Society quickly and effectively so that it can be implemented sooner? Join forces with others around you, neighbors, friends, relatives, and co-workers, to establish Creative Society coordination centers. Your coordination center will be a community of like-minded individuals who also endorse the Creative Society. It will serve as a hub for people of your building, street, neighborhood, and city who take action on a volunteer basis, taking into account local legislation. If there is no coordination center in your vicinity, that needs to be fixed. Waste no time, inform your neighbors, find like-minded people, and create your own volunteer coordination centers. What do you need to create a coordination center? Opening one is simple, and anyone can do it. First, you should inform the main coordination center about your decision through the official email on the creativesociety.com website. Then, by joint efforts with others, do everything possible within the framework of the law to inform even more people about the Creative Society. You, the people, are the center of coordination. You can gather in person or virtually. You don't even need to be in the same place as other participants. You can organize your own communication through a chat on any convenient social network. Meetings and coordination can take place online using audio and video calls. The main thing is the coordination of your actions, which means a joint agreement on how you will organize the information sharing process. If you create a coordination center, it means that you are making a platform where you can communicate, coordinate your actions to inform people about the creative society in your region or city, hold conference calls, plan meetings, discuss results, distribute tasks among yourselves, brainstorm, and look for new approaches. If you have any ideas, you can bring it to a general conference call or meeting and discuss it together on how to implement it. For example, together you can print car stickers, put the logo on clothing and products, arrange for advertising in public places, and much more. You can download the designs for free from the creativesociety.com website. By coordinating your efforts, you can inform and engage your immediate surroundings and even entire communities, groups, organizations, districts, cities, internet resources, and local media, telling them about the Creative Society. Don't limit yourself. If you want to, you can inform your entire country and even your neighboring countries. You can organize coordination centers based not only on where you live, but also on your sphere of interests, including various lifestyle communities, sport clubs, business networks, etc. You can also interact with other coordination centers from different cities, countries, and the entire planet, joining in a virtual format of coordination. The Creative Society is a union of all humanity, all organizations, all people, all those who want to live in the Creative Society, and all those who understand the doom of the current consumer format are welcome here. The Creative Society is beneficial to absolutely everyone.
So that's what we're doing right now. We're starting off by having these conversations and discussing what intrigued us the most as we are looking at the technology that has already existed, just as what was just expressed before. And I am looking at these coordination centers in a bigger platform, because when we are organizing, just doing the 1 or 2, 3 of us, I want people to realize that it can just be the 1, 2, and 3. You start with that amount, and then it grows to maybe 5 to 10, and then it grows to 25. And you don't necessarily have to have a big crowd to begin that process. I want to make sure I reiterated that. In fact, it was myself and my husband that started with just the Black experience of being human in the Creative Society. It was just us talking to the world. And so now we have some other people who have signed up and they want to have that discussion too. That doesn't have to be necessarily in a forum like this. It can be in a closed forum, and then you bring it later to the public. We want people to begin to feel comfortable about the discussion. So the Creative Society is a movement about the humanity of it all, because we are the humans that have to come together to make this happen. So I want to reiterate that. This is bringing the power back to the people. Alex?
Yeah, bring back the power. And we also need to understand that the power is in our hands, and that we can really change a lot. And everything starts from the choice of each and every person. So it's also like the story of Sheikh Mohammed in the beginning, that he just watched a video on TikTok, and then if you want to know more, and you do this one more step and another step, and you know more, and you see that a lot of millions of people are already acting, and you also want to join, and you also you want this fair society, like fair relationship, really nice conditions in the society that allow you to be creative, to be inspiring, and you are inspired by others, and you inspiring someone else. That's also really, really great. And
technology inspires us, obviously. That's why we watch the movies and the different shows that will portray technology. When we look at, I always bring up my favorite Star Trek, because that's what I grew up with as far as my 2 older brothers, and that some of that technology was a forefront, such as tablets and warp speed, for scientists to even explore more, and they exist now. So it is not difficult, like what Sheikh Mohammed was saying before, for us to imagine these technologies. Maybe in the 1970s and 80s, iPhones were not something we could envision, but they are here today. It exists today. And I have to help people realize that, because they say, oh, there's no way that a replicator exists. Oh, there's no way that you can have a capsule that's going to heal you. Are you sure about that? Because when we look at the past, maybe we couldn't envision these things. My mom, I remember in the early 80s, had a big cell phone. It was probably as big as my keyboard, and it was very thick. And I'm like, what is that? And that was considered a cellular device. That's what was envisioned as a cell phone, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the truth of the matter. And then we had what were called pagers that would beep, beep, beep when somebody would call you on the phone, and my pager is going off. Let me go check to see who's calling me on my pager. It's this little device that shows numbers, and then you have to go to a telephone booth to see who's calling you. That was cool technology back then, right? That was awesome. So I say that to say, open your mind, because the future is already here. Some of that technology has been held back. Some of it has already existed or is already being worked on. And I want to make sure we get into that technology piece, because I know that Sheikh Mohammed was really inspired by the technology, especially that replicator. Should we show that video first, Alex? What do you think before we talk about it? Because I want people to know what we are talking about.
Yeah, maybe a nice opportunity.
Let's go. Let's watch that video.
I'm so hungry. Mom, when are we going to eat?
Soon. Wait a few more minutes. The food is warming up.
Why does it take so long? Why does food have to be cooked at all? Why isn't there a microwave yet that creates hot prepared food I want instantly?
What makes you think there isn't? Actually, it's almost ready.
What do you mean?
Well, it does exist. It's called a replicator. Well, come eat.
What is a replicator?
A replicator is a device that creates ready-made food right away, and you don't have to cook anything yourself.
How is this possible? They haven't told us about this kind of thing at school.
Well, that's understandable, because no one has a replicator yet, although modern science is already very close to discovering the method of its operation. But in the creative society, everyone will have a replicator.
So will we have one too?
Of course.
So I'll be able to print a warm sandwich in it right away? Or will I have to heat it up as well?
It can be cold or warm, as you wish.
What about chocolate cake?
Even marshmallow cake, as you want.
Would it be possible to print lots and lots and lots of fresh orange juice? And right away? So I don't have to wait for the oranges to be squeezed?
Yeah, right away, instantly.
Whoa, it's like a magic wand. How does a replicator get it done so quickly? Will it cook that fast by itself?
Almost. Only while in order to make food, a bun for example, we mix ingredients. The replicator will mix particles and create anything from them, because everything in this world consists of the same particles.
How so?
Well, you're eating a bun, right? What is it made of?
From flour.
What is the flour made of?
Wheat.
And wheat?
From grains.
What is a grain of wheat made of?
I don't know, maybe of little grains?
Well done! You're almost right. A wheat grain consists of chemical elements. They consist of molecules, molecules of atoms, and atoms of even smaller particles, like seeds.
So the bun is made out of these little particles, right?
That's right. And not just the bun, but also this table, your blouse, and the bottle too. Everything in the world consists of them.
So if everything consists of the same thing, then the replicator can print not only food but anything?
Sure thing.
Then why do things look different and have different tastes and colors?
Because the particles are combined differently in different objects and carry different information.
Okay, and where are they going to get these particles for the replicator?
We'll take particles from the recycler. Just as the replicator assembles things from particles, the recycler will also break down anything into particles and transfer them to the replicator cartridge. We'll be able to recycle all unnecessary things into things we need.
Recycle all the trash on the planet. There will be no more garbage. We can break it into particles in the replicator too.
Yes, sure. Anything you don't need, garbage, waste, dust, broken things, dirty shoes, you just put into the recycler. There, they are decomposed into particles and collected in a cartridge. And that cartridge is then inserted into the replicator.
Oh, wait, does that mean we're going to eat food made out of garbage?
We already eat it now. For example, you ate an apple. You left the rest of the apple in the garden on the soil. Over time, the apple decomposed into elementary particles and became part of the soil. Thanks to this, the grass grew, which the cow ate. These particles became the nutrients for the cow and come to our table already in the form of milk or yogurt, and we eat them. These particles have no properties of the object they form. They have no odor, they cannot be harmful or inedible, they are neutral. This is why you can reassemble anything from the recycled particles, and even tasty and healthy food.
And when there's a replicator, can I print myself a dog?
No. A replicator cannot create a living organism, neither a dog, nor car, or even a mosquito.
But why?
A replicator simply reproduces any object consisting of the same particles, but it can't create life. It can print a cooked fish or chicken, fried or cooked according to any recipe. But that chicken or fish was never born, never lived, and no one ever killed it. It is simply a collection of particles. To replicate any dish endlessly, all you need to do is prepare it once using our regular method, and that's it. From there on, you can copy it as many times as you want.
Yay! Thanks for the replicator, the animals won't die. No one will kill chickens. So great! Replicators, great! So, when we have a replicator, will we have to stuff a blanket into the duvet covers?
No, you can get a ready-made blanket with a duvet cover from the replicator right away, even a new one, every day if you like.
And the dresses too?
Yes, lots of different dresses, and you won't even have to iron and wash them, because every particle of dirt will serve as a refiller, and you'll even have more particles on the dirty dress to print a beautiful new one.
Wow, Mom! It turns out I'm not the only one who can print whatever I want in the replicator, but everyone can?
Yes, in the Creative Society, everyone will be able to print whatever they need for themselves.
And that means everybody will have nice clothes and good food. And that means there won't be any poor or hungry people.
That's right. Everyone on the planet will be fed and clothed.
But nobody needs to buy anything. And there's no more need for stores anymore. If we don't have to buy anything, we don't need money. If we don't need money, no one will fight. And if there's no money, we won't have wars. Everyone will live happily ever after.
Come here, my dear. What a smart girl you are. Yes, there will be peace everywhere. Everyone will live happily ever after.
Happily ever after. about such a wonderful world. Everyone had a replicator and printed delicious food on it. Everyone had beautiful clothes. There were no wars. Everyone lived peacefully. Everyone was friendly and all were beautifully dressed. And I got a huge teddy bear out of the replicator and a bunch of chocolates and a TV, and I got a dress for me and you, a princess dress. And my friends and I were inventing what else we could get out of the replicator. And it was so much fun. Mom, I really want such a wonderful world.
Oh, sweetie, I know. I want that kind of world too. And we're doing everything we can to make it happen faster.
So Alex and Sheikh Mohammed, before we get started, this is what I want, because there's a lot to unpack in there. The first thing I want to unpack in the video, it started off with the microwave. In case people are not familiar with microwave technology, it started off as an experiment with microwave and radar technology that they were actually trying to use for war in 1945. And then you had the first microwave that was about 6 feet tall, and it was 750 pounds, and that came out in 1976. That's when the first microwave came out. Today, those microwaves, sometimes they can fit in the back of a car. I mean, you can lift it, you can carry it. But so I'm saying that to say, here we are talking about microwaves, and that was a technology that started way back in 1945. And now we're seeing most people have microwaves.
Actually, what's also have understood that, like, in the near future, in the creative side, we all will have these replicators, and it's our near future. It's our actually next day, and we just need to do everything we can in order to facilitate it.
There's something perhaps which might make some people to be less skeptical. Recently, the astronomers have finally confirmed that in our galaxy alone, we've got 100 billion Earth-like planets. Now, what I'm trying to say is we are not trying to invent this replicator or whatever in the universe. These are things which are already working elsewhere. Now, under the consumer system, we cannot go beyond a certain threshold. Let us consider, for example, free energy. You have many people in the world who have come up with ideas of free energy. You have, I think it was Jean Mayer, in America in the 70s, who produced a car which only ran on water. You also had a young boy in Nigeria, I've got his WhatsApp number, who produced a device which can provide electricity for a whole house only using water. In my own small town here, Douala, Cameroon, where I am, recently a young man published a video where he showed a flat screen TV working without being connected to the socket. Something which was invented not so long ago by Chikumbuzo of Zimbabwe, who also made a car which could run without fuel, without being charged, and he also made a helicopter. Now, I called this young man, because since he's very close, I called him, trying to explain to him that what you have in your hands is a bombshell. And the only way you can protect yourself now is to publish the mechanism so that everybody knows. Stop thinking personally, because you might not live long enough to think of anything. But because most people have been conditioned by the consumer society, he said, oh, Daddy, I'll call you later. A way to get rid of me. He's waiting for someone who will call him to tell him he's going to give him millions of dollars for his invention. And my own experience with things like that in the past is that they always end up 6 feet under. So we should have the creative society as soon as possible. That is when all such genius like this, like Kumbuzo, like Meyer in America, like Paramahamsi Tiwari of India, who produced a free energy generator which could produce up to 22 kilowatts. And you have many other people. One was in Turkey and so on. So the replicator mechanism, let us not forget that all the technology we are seeing around us is actually 50 years behind. The secret military programs are using things which are 50 years ahead of us. So many of these things are already available. All that is required is to have the creative society. When the competition will stop, then all these devices will come out. In the United States alone, you have more than 6,000 patents which have been classified top secret. These are patents which can help humanity, which can solve most of the problems in the world. Free energy, for example, will turn the Sahara Desert into a big plantation, because energy is a critical factor when it comes to desalinating seawater to produce fresh water to irrigate. Now, so let us understand the importance of the creative society and do our best, because it is so it is so compatible with our nature. We will not have a lot of trouble to convince others. And that has been my experience. Because when you see, once you explain to somebody, to everybody, what you want to expect, what is coming, everybody says yes. I mean, everybody wants it to come. But of course, there are the global elite who would want to keep their advantage. Fortunately, with the creative society, we are having a situation where humanity will decide. Now, when I first saw the creative society, I had one little apprehension, because in what had made the monetary system to be turned into an enslaving one was when the monetary system deviated from the gold standard to a fiat currency, which is defended by nothing. It's when I saw the replicator, then I realized that, well, we cannot have a currency backed by an asset when you have the replicator around. Because with the replicator, whatever it is you decided to back the currency with, people will replicate that until it becomes completely so abundant that it becomes worthless. So it's a question of having unity under the right circumstances. It is true that the global bad guys are also trying to have some kind of dictatorial unity. So we must undercut them and produce unity which is driven by humanity before they get to use different techniques like this stuff which you put into people and many other things to drive people down. I'm not pronouncing it because I know what happens to some videos when you pronounce certain words. Now, we should undercut them and bring about a society where such a thing will not happen. We should understand when we read the Bible and they say that Adam lived for 1,000 something years, that is not lying. It's because some bad guys have manipulated with our genes in order to keep us to be perpetual children so they can dominate us. But with the creative society, this will be undone with technology, and we'll have the long lifespan which our ancestors have of 1,000 or more years. So it is necessary that we go through the steps. From what I've understood, the steps are threefold. There's the information step, then the step where there will be political influence, where they will be put into the constitution. Then some kind of referendum will come to a trial period, the period of 5 to 6 years. Then money will be history, and we'll now have peace and harmony on earth.
Yeah, thanks so much. And when you have talked a lot and about things that are actually hidden right now, and it reminds me about the fourth pillar of creative society: transparency and openness of information for all. Because it's indeed that every human has a right to have this reliable information about not only movement and distribution of public funds, but also about these technologies that are already implemented, but actually hidden from the public. And we haven't heard a lot about it, about this, the research that is made in the different areas, and only after a few years. And it's not a secret. For example, as Julia mentioned, the microwave technology that was implemented first in the military area and only then got to the public. The same with the computer that I'm streaming to the YouTube and other platforms right now. It was also first the military technology, to calculate the ballistic area, and only then it got to public. But maybe we need to can make it a bit vice versa. So remove the military and then just implement it for the good for the good of society. So everyone can actually have this really nice technology right away, and not to wait 10, 50 or I don't know how many years before it was allowed. And this openness and self-government over the whole society is exactly what we all of us need, and that allows us actually to build this peaceful society, because everyone will be in safety and you will have no worries at all about your children, your mother, your parents, about even yourself if you're late, want to get home.
Agreed, Alex. And I'm looking at those pillars, right? People say, what are these 8 pillars? Why do we have these? And it's so that people understand full transparency where the Creative Society is, the movement is towards. Number 1, human life. That is essential. That's the highest value. It's not about race. It's not about who you are, your cultural background. You are still an individual and always will be treated as such. But you will firstly be treated as a human, not as a Black American human, not as a whatever label that you are right now that maybe you're not too fond of. Like, I'm not too fond of all these labels. I think labels hold us back. And at the same time, I am always appreciative of culture and diversity. That is also important to me, to be able to learn about other peoples. But at the same time, I feel that I can speak for the United States, that these labels hold us back and create these divisions. And so I just want people to understand that that first pillar that the Creative Society has put forth for all of us to embrace is human life, your life, my life, Alex, your life, Sheikh Mohammed, your life. These are all important and should be just as important to all of us. And that second one, I think, is human freedom. And then after that, it's human safety. So those first 3 pillars are dealing with the humanity of it all. So all we have to do is change the consumer-driven society as we are now and change it to the people, power to the people. That's where we want to bring things back. When I know we have a video about that, and maybe we can hold that towards the end. But transparency, like Alex said, is key, and that is what's lacking, because that microwave technology, like I said, had been available since 1945. Unfortunately, they were using it for war tactics and how to build better war machines. And at the same time, the technology now can be able to irradiate food, right? And we have it in our households as a commonality. So I think that's where we have to remind people that technology is really just held back. It's always here. And just like Alex, you're also saying the same thing. We're all saying the same thing. We just need people to realize it. We just need to get to that point of realizing it. And even the capsule, it can't be that hard to believe, as much as people who do read the biblical texts and all the different ancient texts, and they talk about the many years that people have lived. Obviously, they probably had a capsule. Maybe they didn't call the capsule then, and that's what we're calling it now in the Creative Society, that this technology exists. I was intrigued just when we were able to describe that, the technology of the capsule, being able to keep our bodies intact and to be able to heal just from this capsule. And I know that maybe some people are concerned that if we take these things out of the consumer society, that we no longer exist. And I don't think that's true. I still think that you will need some doctors, you will need some holistic healers, you will still need the people who represent the health. Maybe health is just looked at differently. And I think that's what we have to challenge ourselves to be able to live differently, look at things differently, and not hold on to old ideals that hold us back.
Right. Talking about the consumer society, there's one very sad example which I'd like to give. You see, currently in Africa, about 1 million people die every year, mostly children, because of a disease called malaria, which is spread by a certain mosquito, which bites and sends in a certain parasite called Plasmodium falciparum. Now, this has been 95% of all malaria patients in the world are African. And this has been going on for a very long time. Now, one young doctor in the Congo called Theodore Morengi did a research where he demonstrated that a certain plant, in other words, he used the medical protocol where he had 1,000 people with malaria, mostly children in a certain village, and 1,000 other children with malaria. And now he gave to one group the classic pharmaceutical remedy and a fake concoction. And he gave the second group the concoction of Artemisia annua and a fake pharmaceutical tablet. And at the end of the exercise, he realized that those who had the pharmaceutical product, which for reasons of resistance is now ACT, artemisinin combined therapy. When you have pharmaceutical products, there is always resistance. But when you have the natural product, which is created directly, then you have thousands of elements inside, and it's difficult for the microorganisms to know against which to fight. So when Theodore Murenge, he did this experiment, he realized that those who had taken the actual pharmaceutical product only had 75% of the parasites killed. But that clinically gives them an appearance of having been cured. The only difference is that they will fall back a few months later when the 25% which have been left inside, which are now more resistant, come back and grow into flourishing. But those who took the concoction from Artemisia and Noah actually had 99.something% of the parasite destroyed. Now, so it was very clear. In order to eradicate malaria in Africa, you needed to grow a certain plant called Artemisia and Noah. This is a plant which is imported from China. But there is also an African sister plant which is called Artemisia afra, which also has the same qualities. Now, the Worcester Research Institute in America, there's a certain researcher there who has actually studied Artemisia and Noah for more than 25 years. And she has demonstrated that the full plant has many aspects. You have more than 25 different components, some of which help in the absorption of artemisinin. So the situation was clear. In order to eradicate malaria in Africa, we have to spread the cultivation of this plant so that everybody has it in his garden. Then malaria, because the plant itself produces a perfume which drives off mosquitoes. That's again another added quality. But now, actually, the Africans are spending approximately $20.7 billion every year to fight malaria. And that is money for the international pharmaceutical mafia. And since we are inside the consumer situation, that they will always do everything possible to make sure the status quo stays. As a matter of fact, they've succeeded to lobby and have this plant made illegal in many countries like France and Belgium and so on, even though there is nothing wrong with it. And some of my friends in the pharmaceutical industry have hinted to me that the orders to bring out that plant came from Geneva, secretly. And in Geneva, what do you have there? The headquarters of, I don't want to pronounce the name. So all of this is happening because we are in the consumer society. We need to go to the creative society where you can see that the number of solutions, as a matter of fact, in the creative society, there will be so many solutions that we have to pick among them. In other words, for every problem, we have to choose from 5 different solutions which present themselves. Even though right now we are not able to find a single solution which can work out there because of the consumer spirit and the quest for money and power. Let the creative society come quickly.
It's very strong association with the creative society that what I explain in it, I use this word is exactly freedom. Like it's a freedom to, like in the research, freedom in many areas when you can actually, without any worries, you can just think and develop such technologies that can improve the society, improve the quality of life for every person. And there are no other, means and any obstacle that you might have that can stop you, because just, it's remind me actually in my childhood, I wanted to become, like not a pharmacist, but a person who works with the plants, with a herbal plant that can actually cure people. And it was my child dream. And that's why I go to the biological faculty and the biochemistry. And I want to study it a lot, but then obstacles, some things, and you understand like how the pharma nowadays works, and you have no opportunity to work at this pharmagnost, like the person who works with these plants, and here and there, and I ended up to be a software developer. But it's always like even now, it's still my dream, like to be, just to become this person. I think in creative society, that's one of the things that I will do, like as a hobby or as a profession, because it's really you understand that everything is already given. So
yes,
we can find a lot of things that actually can help us a lot, and we just don't know about it. We just haven't make a research, because I understand that in order to do that, you need to make money somehow. Like as a researcher, it's exactly that. You cannot get funds for it, right? You need to prove it. You need to wait for a long time, and nobody wants to wait, like all the sponsors and so on. But exactly what I understand right now, what every scientist can do is join a great society and then make the research and exactly concentrate on the very important moment that we have, survival of the whole humanity. It's no other words you can describe what's happening with the climate and what is going on. But we need to really do it. We need to really together take our actions, do everything like possible and impossible to study and understand what's going on. And exactly, you remember who watched the forum, who don't watch, if you're a scientist, please watch it. The last video that we showed on the forum about this energy, like 32 types of stuff.
Yes.
So interesting. It's really like makes me already very curious. What is exactly that? How it will work? What is going on? What is this? Are these 32 types of energy that will be available for us in the first stage? And like it's really something very interesting. And the only thing we need to do is inform people about Great Society. If you know some scientists, please inform them. Of course, this needs some time to understand, to digest the information, to each of us has gone through the same path. Believe me, like each of us who are here on the show and who other hosts, it just needs some time to understand, how it will work, because we don't have this experience. But we feel and understand it's deep inside ourselves that it will work, and this society that will really save our lives.
Alex, I have to say something to you. I started off as well wanting to be an herbalist since I was a child and also work with frequencies. And my parents said, no, you won't make any money doing that. We can't have you do that. And so I still do this as a hobby. People still call me in my family, my inner family, for advice on different herbs to take if they're not feeling well, or what frequency they should use to help calm their mood. So I'll be with you in the Creative Society, working on
Right.
herbs. I just want to let you know. Yes, I'm a journalist by trade, but I certainly love being an herbalist. Love. So I'll be right with you.
Talking about the energy, which Alex just mentioned, I was also surprised to hear about 32 types of energy, because when we list the physical types of energy, which you learn from school, electrical, mechanical, thermal, nuclear, and so on, you have 6. Even if you add the what was added by Vrillon, this person who spoke from the Ashtar Galactic Command in 1975 through British television. Inside the message he gave is called money energy. And there's actually a secret document, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, which was forgotten in a certain photocopying machine in America, which is a document secret in one of the Rothschild family, which shows that the equations which are used to calculate the manifestation of energy and physical energy can also be used in economics and social energy. In other words, money and economics is social energy. So by adding that, even by adding that, you still have 7. It's not 32. So what are the others? That's intriguing. And I think by searching to get to know what that is, we might get to expand our consciousness. And let us hope that it is done in a creative society, because I can assure you, if those other people get to find out what those other forms of energy are today, it's sure that they're going to weaponize it. There is a certain engineer called Vladimir Krasnoholovet who made studies on pyramids. And it turns out that there is a certain type of energy which is radiated up to 300 miles, 300 kilometers away from the pyramid. And he refused to reveal the type of energy because it would go against certain secret conventions of the, you see, again, the same problem. Meanwhile, that type of energy, if it were revealed, maybe it can help humanity in several ways. So everything indicates that we need to get rid of the consumer society, or like if you follow the handbook for the new paradigm, they said, go from a competitive paradigm to a collaborative paradigm. And so we stop competing with one another and we'll collaborate with one another in the world in order to bring a harmonious world for all of humanity and for all other life forms who are also existing in the world.
Well said. And I do agree with you, Sheikh Mohammed, that if we don't come together, it will still be business as usual. It will still be the consumer society. And I am saying to any of you who are watching this, and maybe you are still on the fence, still trying to figure out what this is all about, why not join us and ask questions and be a part of the solution, be a part of learning and understanding, fully transparent in the Creative Society. That's what I appreciate. I've researched every video that I've known within the Creative Society and, of course, beyond the Creative Society. And I am telling you to do the same thing. You can do your own research if you still have questions. If you still have questions about the replicator or the capsule or the 32 different kinds of energy that Sheikh Mohammed was just referring to. These are things or reasons for you to join the Creative Society, and we can continue this together. We can continue this journey. And that's what I kind of wanted to say, my closing thoughts on that, why these coordination centers are important. The discussion that we are having right now with Sheikh Mohammed and Alex, this is a coordination center of its own. We're talking about topics that have interest to us or is just part of the discussion. And sometimes it'll morph into more discussion. That's exactly what we want. There's nothing hidden here. I can promise you that. Alex, what are some of your final thoughts?
Yeah, so my final thought is exactly, go and just talk to the people that are nearby. It's also sounds challenging and how can I start and etc. So, but believe me, there are a lot of people near you that want to live in creative society. They just don't know about it. But deep inside, they really want this happy life, this freedom that have this inside, and this freedom of choice, what to do in the life, how to live, and nobody actually should dictate us how to live. It's no go in our modern society, and for sure there will be no power in creative society, and that's also very, very important thing. And you just need to really understand that this feeling of freedom that drives each of us to participate in this show, go live on TikTok and talk to our friends and subscribers in the Instagram and Twitter, every means to find these friends, to explain people about creative society is really welcome right now. And actions of each of us depends our own future. Isn't it actually brilliant that our future is in our hands? And the only thing that we need to do is start acting. And yeah, what I can say, so we just need to understand it and start going to this direction.
Right. I congratulate the team who have started the promotion of the Creative Society, because they understand that although a lot of people will have to make their own decisions, there are quite a lot of other people who prefer to follow some other people blindly because they've been conditioned like that. And so by going to have the blessings of someone like the Pope and some Imam and one Freemason, I never realized there was a branch of Freemasonry which could actually condone something like this. So that makes me to understand that you have good people everywhere. That was a very good strategy because it will enable us to reach many people much faster.
And on that note, we will end this discussion until another time, but it certainly doesn't end the discussion about the Creative Society, as we're still in the information stage and can't wait to get to the technology. All of us can't wait. So hurry up and join us. Hurry up and be a part of the team, because we can't do it alone. It's going to take everyone. So thank you for tuning in and listening to this program. And if you want to know more about how to start your own coordination center, reach out to either myself or Alex or the Creative Society in general. I do answer the comments on the videos that I do see on YouTube. So I will be looking for your comments and your questions. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure and a real honor.